Okay, good morning, everyone. We have a few items on the agenda for today. So the first item on the list is the Kafka to gRPC swap. Ken is the one working on it. So we won't go into too many details of what's going on, but the work is in progress. There have been some good progress in the last couple of weeks. We have run a few jobs, both on hardware and the scale cluster, and we have now 27 out of 29 tests passing on hardware for the AT&T workflow with the images that Ken provided us. And we have a set of preliminary patches that are available on Gerrit in case you want to take a look. This morning I ran a couple tests at scale. Everything seems to be working with the Deutsche Telekom workflow, with a small caveat that seems like the port discovery in ONOS is taking longer than it used to be. We haven't investigated that yet. My suspicion is that the core might be discovering the port way faster than it used to, and so it's kind of bombarding either Ofagent or ONOS, but it's really a shot in the dark. I have to look at the logs that the jobs are collecting, and I'm going to add the link to the job to this document in case someone else wants to take a look. Is there any question or comment on this item? No, good. The second item is a quick update on the OLT application rewrite in ONOS. We are going to do a deeper dive into the application next week. So I'm going to present the design and explain why we are rewriting it. But for now, in case you want to take a look, there is a diagram that is publicly available in case you want to start looking into it. We now have a basic version of the application that is passing the sanity test on all three workflows. There are a few things that remain to do. The bigger one is to support ONOS clustering and filter out the events that the application needs to care about, because we need to address the events only for the application that is controlling that particular device. We need to run tests both on hardware and at scale with this new application, because the sanity test that has been run so far was based on bbsim. We need to change some of the internal maps that we're currently using into distributed primitives in ONOS. And we need to add external facing REST APIs to support backward compatibility. If you want to dig into the code, the preliminary version of the app is uploaded on GitHub and is publicly available. You can download it and try it out in your local system if you want. Any question or comment?
For the test on gRPC, are you testing with this new version of the app in combination, or is this still, are they both isolated at this point?
No, we're testing with the current version of the app.
Okay.
Because the new app is not It's not completely finished, so we didn't want to add any new variable.
Yep.
In there.
Just at some point, once we're confident with one or the other, we need to make sure we cross test. But yeah, okay.
Absolutely, yeah. The plan is to have the gRPC images to pass the test with the current app, having the new app passing the test with the current images, and then once we have both, we can combine them.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure who added this deprecation of all unused, unused.
Did.
I'm all for it.
I added it. The issue was I was just going through the repos today for some other reason. There's a lot of older stuff out there, and I wonder if we need to somehow deprecate them so that new people, particularly to the projects, don't get confused. If we can either move them kind of into an archive area or something, just so they don't see them all.
So I'm just guessing, apart of voltha-bbsim, the other inactive one are the Openonu-py version, the Ofagent-py version, most likely Pyvoltha was called.
Yeah, it would just be going through, looking at the logs, and if something hasn't been committed to in the last year, for example, maybe it's something we need to think about how to archive.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Does GitHub offer an archive option? Because otherwise we can just slam a big bold deprecated in the README.
Or change the repo name with a deprecated in front of it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna run this by Andrea and Sora, and probably the PST. I'm gonna send out a mail. So I think the easier thing we should do first is block merges on Gerrit and clearly somehow mark them as deprecated
Yep.
in GitHub. If anyone can think of any other repository that should be added to this list, please let me know. But this should be pretty much it. Okay, the last topic I had on the list was this patch that came in from DT, I believe, from Andre, is setting basically resource limits on the containers. And I guess we all agree that it's good to have both a requested memory and an optional memory limit. I'm just curious, but I'll double check with him on how he picked this value, because I see each container has a different value. But this is something that we've been discussing for a long time. So I think there is no issue with having this merged once it passes the test. Seems like it's failing now, but it's most likely for some. No, actually, the sanity test is failing, so we'll have to look into what's happening with that. Does anyone have any concern with setting resource limits and or advices on how to pick them? Okay. So this is everything I had on the list. Amit, I see you joined. Do you want to talk about the MPLS support in Voltha? I know you shared the document. Maybe you wanted to give an overview to everyone to facilitate the review process.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. So, yeah, so this one was shared quite some time back. So now what we did was, as we were trying to implement the changes in V4, we figured out that the way we had modeled the flows, specifically in the upstream, was not feasible to be really implemented in the V code, because the flow lagged information what is basically needed. So we modified the flows, and so we don't need to have 3 flow rules in the upstream. 2 flow rules are sufficient, and that's the change that we have done, and we were seeking for any comments, if any.
Oh, okay.
So if you scroll down, let me just try to show you where exactly that is. Discussion. Yeah, so the proposed flow rules, come down.
Are these being added for all use cases, or is it specifically just for MPLS pseudowire?
So there would be, at least right now, the proposal is not to have any flag or configuration to turn or turn off this feature. So the changes, at least, have been able to suggest in such a way that the VLAN-based switching or the MPLS-based switching can both coexist without without interfering with each other.
So having these new flows won't exist won't affect non-MPLS cases.
Yeah, so the only switch that would be there would be in the SADIS configuration for a subscriber, if MPLS-based flow rules are to be provisioned or not.
Okay. So if in status MPLS rules are provisioned once the user's authenticated or gone through status, then we'll add additional rules, but these first primary rules be added automatically everywhere. Is that correct?
So depending on whether the subscriber or whether that operator, right, is using MPLS-based switching or not. So the flow rules, if MPLS is not enabled, the flow rules would be the VID-based switching flow rules. That's
okay.
The existing flow rules. MPLS is set to true with the SADIS configuration, then the MPLS-based flow rules would be used. Specifically for the HSIF flow rules, which are not the controller-bound flow rules. So things like the DHCP-L2 relay or IGMP, they should not be affected at all by this.
But
Okay.
when you say MPLS is enabled, are we talking about a flag in the OLT application like we have for people, DHCP and IGMP, or is that purely a SADIS configuration?
It will be a SADIS configuration, and based on that, we will have to provision specific flow rules. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, because these will be per subscriber or on the device. I'm just trying.
This would be per subscriber, but I think you're bringing up a good point, and I think we can seek more feedback on this. That do we really need to do it on a per subscriber basis, or should it be on a per deployment basis?
So the way it works now for DHCP, for example, is that the OLT application has a configuration flag that basically defines whether we need to install the flows on the NNI port. And then we have a configuration in SADIS that is for each service on the Uniport.
Yeah.
So
what I was trying to question is maybe we need to take feedback as to, do we think that in a particular deployment, right, of voltha plus ONOS, would it be a requirement to have some devices / subscribers who are using MPLS and some who are not? Or can we assume that it would be either or? Right. So based on that, we could remove it from a per subscriber configuration to an app level configuration, right, or a deployment configuration.
Is this somewhere where we kind of want kind of an app level configuration, say this is a default, but be able to override on a pre-subscriber basis?
Sorry, David, I didn't get your question.
Is this somewhere where we want to say we have an application default, but we override on a per subscriber basis?
Yeah, we could do that as well, yes.
Yeah, I think that this is a question for the operators. I'll make sure that we double check.
Yeah, I mean, if we do a application default and then allow overrides on per subscriber basis, that kind of answers the question, right? That supports both of them.
Yeah, but the question is whether that's needed or not.
Fair enough. I would guess if we need an application default, you just put it all in, and but okay.
Yeah, but so the way it works with DHCP is that the OLT application has a configuration that is basically only used to install these flows on the NNI port. That I don't see here. I'm not sure if we even need. Yeah, this is a flow on the NNI port. Because otherwise, to decide whether we need to install a flow on a default flow on the NNI port, we'll need to iterate over SADIS, and if one of the services has MPLS enabled, then we need to create that flow. I'm not sure if I explained myself well.
It's fine. We can check with the operators.
Sounds good. Meanwhile, please everyone try to take some time and go over the document if you haven't done it already. Make sure that everything seems reasonable to you. Any other question or comment on MPLS?
Yeah, actually, I may ask offline to Amit about the change required in bbsim for this feature.
Change required in bbsim.
Yeah.
Okay. To see how we implement it in the Openonu-py adapter, because I think there the BAL support is not there, is what I thought as of now.
It's not the support is not there, but are you doing this only in the Atron adapter, I assume?
Yeah, so I think Atron is going to implement that on the adapter.
Okay.
We need to see how we take it forward with the Openonu-py adapter.
I mean, even if you do it,
supported
I
only
don't.
through, should we have it supported only through bbsim, or? Yeah, I think that's a decision that needs to be made.
Okay.
So I may be missing something, but I don't think bbsim needs to actually do anything. But
Yeah,
it does not support data plane package.
Yes, it's most related with that data, as you said. So I don't expect anything in bbsim, but perhaps, I don't know, if the HCP request, I think bbsim sent the HCP request itself. So perhaps the HCP request may be affected.
But so the change that I will see for sure in bbsim is the change in the CIDs config to add these new parameters. But how are the HCP packets going to be affected by this?
I don't know if we need to add MPLS pseudo file headers on the package.
But those will only apply if the DHCP packets are going transparently through voltha without being trapped to the host.
Sorry, I couldn't catch your last sentence, Matteo. You said
So that we need to add the MPLS tags only if you are treating TCP as data traffic and is going transparently through the OLT, not if we are trapping it to the host and sending it up to ONOS.
Yeah. So.
got it.
Mhm.
And bbsim that is not capable of sending packets out of the NNI because it doesn't have a physical or virtual interface. The only packets that bbsim can emulate are the ones that are sent via the Openonu-py proto to voltha and then up to ONOS. So those should not be affected by MPLS.
Okay, then. Okay, I got it, I think.
There was one thing that I had a question on. That was this voltha should properly populate the MAC address of the logical NNI port. Isn't this something that we are already putting into the SADIS configuration?
Sorry, which one's that? What is it properly? Sorry, on the SADIS configuration?
Yeah, in the SADIS configuration, there is a section that is for the OLT device. And in there, we are populating the MAC address. I don't think that at the moment is used for anything. but that
Maybe I missed that. Need to check on that.
yeah, I'll add a comment with a link.
Yeah, sure. So I was thinking more so, the direction that when the NNI logical port is created, if we could set the hardware address on that to the value that should be used on the MPLS packets that the other end would respect, right? That I was looking at it from that direction.
I have to go and look in ONOS, but I'm not sure how you can populate the MAC address via port added message. Because it can be discovered via LLDP or it will be discovered once packets so they start going through and then a host is discovered on that port. But okay, I'll take a look. I'll drop a comment on this. Okay. Anything else on MPLS? If not, that was the last topic on the agenda. So unless is there anything else we need to discuss, I think that's all for today. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll talk to you either on Slack or next week. Have a good day or evening, depending where you are.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.